You're listening to the Blunders and Flagons podcast.
Opening soundscape, cheerful birds chirping, and the distant hum of a peaceful Shire morning. Suddenly, the sound of rustling, scurrying, and a loud squeal of a varmint breaking the tranquility.
Ah, the Shire. Peaceful, green, and cozy. But every now and again, an unwanted guest decides to dig in. That's where Banjo Groman's pest control steps in to save the day.
Howdy, neighbors. I'm Banjo Groman, third generation Hobbit exterminator and founder of Banjo Groman's Pest Control. Whether it's burrowing badgers in your taters, roof climbing rooks in your rafters, or, Mordor forbid, a pack of mischievous weasels making off with your pies, well, I've got the tools and the know-how to send them packing.
Using only the finest Hobbit-friendly techniques and eco-friendly contraptions, Banjo and his team ensure your garden stays lush, your pantry remains safe, and your burrows stay your own.
We don't just trap the pests, we outsmart them. My uncle always said, if you can fool a took, you can fool a mole.
No job too small, no pest too pesky. Banjo Groman's Pest Control is your one-stop shop for keeping varmints out of your veggies and your critters off your carrots. Plus, every service comes with a complimentary pipeweed pouch to help you relax after a hard day's pest proofing.
So if you've got a pest problem that's bigger than a breadbasket, call me, Banjo Groman. I'll handle the pests so you can enjoy the peace of the Shire once more.
Banjo Groman's Pest Control, keeping the Shire clear one critter at a time. Call today at 555-BANJO or stop by our office next to Old Mill in Hobbiton. Good riddance, moles!
Hello and welcome to Blunders and Flagons. This is the podcast where unsuspecting hobbits meet possible deadly forests in the world of Middle-earth. I'm your host, David, and I am thrilled to have you join us on this epic journey filled with laughter, questionable decisions, and a fair share of hobbit-sized antics. I'm joined by a cast of my brothers. Let's turn it over to Daniel.
Hello, I'm Daniel. I am not the lore master. I am player number one in this trio of players, and I have the lovely responsibility of playing Barrelak Bramblefoot. He goes by Barry, and he is a very seasoned hobbit. He knows what he's about, and he is about plants. He loves plants, he lives plants, he breathes plants, and he eats plants frequently. He is often found wandering the Shire, collecting herbs for his personal use, and often to trade. He is always on the lookout for an opportunity to barter his herbs, often to a detriment. Sometimes he gets a little crazy with the herbs sometimes, but he's quick to help others, and he is ever mindful of his family back home in Needlehole. And as he has found himself in this adventure, he treads carefully and cautiously. And now we shall turn it to brother number two, Jeremiah.
Haha! I'm actually labeled among the brothers, not the brother-in-laws. Finally, I've made it.
You're welcome.
Bravo.
I play in this quartet of characters the ever-imaginative Barty Took of the Tooklands. He, if you may or may not have gathered, has an idolization of dwarves, and everything about him, his characteristics, his wear, not necessarily what he eats, because he's a hobbit and he still eats a lot more than a dwarf would, not much meat, but everything else about him is shaped after what he thinks a dwarf would be, including his accent, which is apologetically awful. He was gifted a wood axe by his parents in hopes that he would become a woodsman, but he has since embellished it, stuck on feathers and leaves and stuff, and made it as dwarvish as he can imagine possible. And with that, Barty would like to now introduce you to the third and possibly greatest member of our party, Mr. Drew.
If by great you mean least cautious and least responsible, you're absolutely correct, because that is exactly who I am and exactly who I play.
Impulsive.
If you thought Barry was responsible and Barty had quirks, then you haven't seen nothing, because I'm absolutely just a wild card. You don't know what I'm gonna scamper off and do. I will. I'm going off on a tangent.
A scamperer.
I'm gonna tangent off. But I am playing a very immature young hobbit. He's just trying to find his way. I mean, this kid doesn't know what he's doing, just like I don't know what I'm doing. So it's really easy to slip into that character mindset. But yeah, this hobbit is just trying to find a purpose, and that he's found in killing rodents such as rats and squirrels, and pests, if you will. He makes his coin off of that, makes his dent on society, but he always yearns for something more, something bigger. And, he kind of looks up to his own family in a sense. They kind of go over and after bigger prey, like wolves and stuff like that. He wants to be a great hunter. Like of old, he hears all these tales. And that's his aspiration. He wants to be somebody. Man, I want to be somebody.
Somebody.
Copy strike.
Oh, yeah, and his name is Banjo.
Can I just point out how ironic it is that his last name is Growman and his catchphrase is Little Hobbit, Big World, but it's like Growman, like...
Maybe because he eats Miracle Grow because he wants to get bigger?
Well, actually, do you want to know the reason why our name is Growman?
Mm-hmm.
Do tell.
This actually goes back into family history. So my great uncle, he inherited a farm from his father, as his father did from his father.
I get it.
And in our family, they always look up to the eldest in the house to make a living. And so, as the great great uncle was the eldest in the family, he had to make his farmland useful. So he bought a bunch of chewing leaves, and this was something new that kind of had come up, kind of a competition of pipeweed at the time. And instead of smoking it, you just would chew it. But unfortunately, pipeweeds just gained in popularity too fast, and it tanked the business. And that reverted our family to do poaching instead. And then once the king gave us this land to use, it wasn't poaching anymore, and we became hunters and stuff like that. So that that's the history behind the name Growman. Is that we used to be farmers, but
I like that Roman lore dropped, guys.
Wow. The lore keeps coming, and it don't stop coming.
Or at least that's what my dad told me.
Well, speaking of lore, I'm the lore master, and I say it's time to get started. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Daniel was doing some recapping. What was our plan?
Yes, please tell us where we left off last time.
Okay, last we left off, the three hobbits had gone into the woods to search for some mushrooms, or perhaps the source of them. Gerda Boffin was found, rather by accident, and she was not super forthcoming with information. But after searching around rather spastically and with varied results, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. But we did manage to stumble into a large hollow tree. And inside said hollow tree, after finding the entrance, we found a lot of mushrooms. A lot of big mushrooms, which must have been grown and cared for by a very studious and green thumb type person. So we promptly proceeded to harvest a bunch of mushrooms. We harvested a bunch of mushrooms.
What a politically correct term of what we did. We ravaged that place.
we ransacked the tree. We just ransacked
The
it.
things I did that day will scar me for the rest of
Being
my
so
life.
close to the holiday season, it's quite relatable to what the Grinch did to Whoville.
Yeah, exactly. We went down to Whoville and we took everything. Not a single nail was left.
We maybe left like half of one.
Every single can of Who Hash.
Yeah, so we took the mushrooms and we left. And it was getting towards evening time, I believe. And we were headed...
Yeah, because we were in there. We got lost in there for a minute.
We were headed back. And the potential play was to have the mushrooms taken to the house that we're kind of renting from Dahlia. Since the Green Dragon doesn't have rooms inside, it seems like exterior housing. And so we had been in this small house. So the thought was that we could leave the mushrooms there with someone to guard it, while others go to the Green Dragon and try to get an actual bowl of the soup before it runs out, so that we can actually know what we're trying to make. Because so far, none of us have tried it and have no idea what it tastes like. So that was the plan.
Very good. The only thing that I have that you don't is that we did go ahead and roll for your journey back to Hobbiton.
Yes, the journey roll
that's
was
right.
not great, I believe.
And the resulting roll means that as you set out, it does appear that you have spent quite a bit of time in this really amazing and quite distracting place. It's, as we mentioned last time, you've never seen a smorgasbord of mushrooms so intense. And it's quite distracting. So when you step out, it may be a little bit later than you realized. What I'd like for you to do is everybody roll a travel check. These are, it can result, depending on the journey roll, in a positive or a negative thing. This is just a check.
Gosh, Daniel.
For you guys. So there is a set DC that I have based on what is going on.
I don't think either of us nailed it, Daniel.
I think we're in trouble.
I swear. Oh, please tell me it's not a party.
It is a party check.
I rolled a 7.
And I rolled a 15.
2 7s and a 15, so not great.
So Barry and Barty, while you are collecting mushrooms, both of you occasionally get distracted by these mushrooms and you can't help but take a bite. And they are such good mushrooms. You have never had mushrooms that tasted quite this good. They like a well-cooked steak, they almost melt in your mouth. And they are so delicious. And so you find yourself, you'll load your pack and then you'll, absent-mindedly munch some and then my pack is a little empty now. So you kind of keep going. You maybe end up taking more mushrooms than you initially intended to, spending a little bit more time enjoying them. And strangely, Banjo is the first one to kind of be ready and waiting to leave, but he's easily persuaded. The two of you especially kind of take extra time. And by the time you go to leave, it is quite dark. The sun has completely set, and you have a bit of a hard time finding your path.
Great, and we were hoping that Barry would be the one to track us back. Great, what a lovely load of mushrooms, boys. Look at all these delicious things.
I haven't had a mushroom like that since... Well, I don't think I've ever had a mushroom as good as that.
I don't think I have either. I might even have some soup made of these.
Yeah, were they good? Yeah, did that taste good? How the heck are we supposed to get home? We're out here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, you guys have been over there stuffing your faces.
Barry said he could get us home.
Well, I don't know. Does anyone have a light? We can maybe try to light our path in some way or another, but...
Someone's got a flint and steel.
Oh, we've got torches and things. We do. I'm sure, but listen here. There's no point in finding these delicious mushrooms and not having at least one or two to try. So don't you be getting in a fuss at me yet, young man. And it's your own fault if you haven't tried any yet.
I say the sooner we get out of these forests, the more time we'll have to peruse our wares. So let's make ways to get out of here.
Do we want to try finding our way out of here? Because I don't remember which way we came in. I'm all turned around all sorts. This windy, spiny staircase has got me all mind-boggling. Do we want to try finding our way back out of the forest? Or maybe do we want to stay in the tree and risk being found by what's her face? I remember her name is Crockins. Boffin's Croc. Mrs. Boffin.
Mrs. Croc.
I don't know, man. It's been a minute. I had some mushrooms.
Let's think here.
I'm trying.
She was just here today.
Right.
Because they needed mushrooms.
Right.
and I don't think she'll be back soon.
Right.
Unless, of course, she's come to take care of her mushrooms, which, if she's got any sense at all, she already did already.
Right.
So, I don't anticipate her being back today.
Right.
I vote we stay in the tree, because it's already too late. I'm checking my watch, because I'm a hobbit and I've got a watch. I'm checking my sundial.
Checking the sundial on his wrist and it's just black.
And there's no sun,
guys.
And there's no sun, so clearly it's very late. I don't think it's very wise to go through a forest this late at night. Because not only could we get lost and wind up sleeping under trees, which is mighty uncomfortable.
We're literally going to be doing that, though.
We could make ourselves little beds in here.
Not true.
And it'd be much more comfortable. We have a little fire we could light.
Right.
It'd be much more comfortable than wandering around in the dark and the cold. That's my opinion. And you're all welcome to share your own. But of course they'd be less important than mine because I'm much older and wiser hobbit than all of you youngsters.
I'll listen to you, Barry. You're like the dad that doesn't love me anymore.
I'm not your dad.
I want to go right now, but I don't.
Right, Banjo, if you want to go, I won't stop you. I just think it might be better if we had a slinger here to stay with us, just in case.
Well, if these mushrooms are so professionally cared for, like we've seen, I don't feel like she only comes here every 2 days. Might be more than every trip to get them.
Here's the thing, and I'm leaning more towards Barry on this one, just because, and hear me out, the forest can have a lot of many dangers, right? A lot of things can be lurking underneath those branches, behind that pine tree over there. You might just hear some sounds that spook you right out of your skin, Banjo. But what's the harm of a little old lady? She barely couldn't keep herself on her own 2 feet when we ran into her originally.
I suppose I can't bear the thought of getting caught.
You tell me there's someone out there that can outrun one of your marbles, and I'll say you're not the greatest slingshotman as you say you are.
I'll tell you one thing, I'm less scared of the animals in this forest than I am of Miss Boffin. The look she was giving us when she was walking away after seeing her mushrooms, I don't know if I want to tackle her. But if y'all want to stay here and get cozy up, I don't mind that. I don't mind that one bit. I just don't want to run into her again.
When did Banjo become the responsible one?
The other thing is, she's a gardener and she's caring for mushrooms, and I don't know how much you know about plants.
He didn't know how to apply a poultice, I remember that.
He does. He's learning. As far as plants go, mushrooms require the least care. The best care is actually to leave them well alone, because they grow well in the dark, in the cold, and the damp. Well, not necessarily cold, but the dark and the damp.
How about this? We kind of have one of each then. If we stay here, I suggest that one of us watches out for the potential, and we take turns.
Certainly. I wouldn't advise not making watch.
Just as long as not all of us are sleeping all at the same time.
I'm happy to take first watch. I feel mighty invigorated. I've got much to think about right now, which will keep me plenty wide awake. Alright, so who's taking third watch? Right, so I'm taking first. Boundary, you said second. Do you want me to take third watch, Barry, or do you got it?
Well, you don't mind taking the third watch. That's fine with me.
Righto, gents, let's set up.
All right, you can all make yourself more or less comfortable. There's, no bed here. There's maybe one chair and a table, so you can somewhat make yourself comfortable on the floor. You have a bit of a pack with you to do that with. And even though there's a bit of a chill in the air, it's not completely uncomfortable to sleep under the stars, and you have a little bit of shelter as well. Barty, since you are taking the first watch, can you describe how you're going about that and what your setup is?
Right, well, tonight, out of all the other nights that I have my ritual, I decided not to take my boots and helmet off. Just for the first watch. I do want to strap my axe and lay it right next to me. Just settle down. I don't settle outside the door. Inside with the door just like a crack so I can see out. But I want to stay warm and not out there. So I just kind of settle down, leave the door a crack, and just kind of lean up against the side of the door jamb with the axe right there. I'm just messing with me silver bracelet, tracing fingers along the edges on there, and just thinking about the day. Thinking about how large and delicious the mushrooms were, how scared Mrs. Boffin's croc was. Thinking about the enormity of that jacked hobbit, and the tininity of young Fred. And just kind of pondering our several days adventure, and my mind wanders back to the owl, and I think, who was that? And I chuckle to myself for the joke. That was me chuckling to myself at the joke.
Good. That's very good. So, for the most part, your watch passes uneventfully. Please go ahead and make actually 2 rolls for me. I'm going to say since you're inside and the doors open a crack, this is going to be a perception check with disadvantage.
Nice.
So, the first one's a natural 20.
Oh, great. Watching that 1 pop up here.
And the second one's an 8. Okay.
Can't we just take a crit success instead?
I wish we could have. It's okay. Maybe it's for the best. Who knows? So at some point you do shake yourself awake. You realize that you kind of dozed off a little bit. Probably not for a long time, but you do feel that grogginess kind of overwhelm you, and you're feeling that bracelet, and it's a bit cold to the touch.
Yeah, it's been a minute. This might chill you out.
And you figure about now probably your watch is close to over.
Right. Before I do anything, I check, make sure my axe is still there. Look back, make sure my lads are still there. Check, make sure the door's still in sort of the same position that I left it in. And there's nothing disturbed, like I just kind of, and peek out, kind of creak the door open with the axe in my hand, of course, like I did with the curtains, just push it open. Peek out, make sure there's nothing disturbed or nothing I can catch or see or smell or sense. As I'm trying to wake up and shake myself, I'm just trying to ground myself.
Looking around, everything within seems pretty well ordered and organized as you left it. As you slide the door open a little bit more, it is far louder than you remembered it being.
Blast it all.
It's kind of like this sliding, scratching sound as you push it. And it happens quickly, so you stop and you listen. And you notice that it is very quiet. But other than that, nothing seems to be out of place.
I don't like the quiet. I don't like the quiet. Banjo! Banjo! I go, shake Banjo,
My turn for watch already?
No, Banjo! It's really quiet out there. Really quiet.
Quiet, you say?
Yes.
Oh, quiet.
It's unnerving, I'm telling you.
Well, no, that's good.
No, it's not good. You know, at home you've got the crickets, you got the mice, you got the squirrels, you got the owls. We got the owls. There's none of that.
So you'll wake me up if there's owls, but you'll also wake me up if there's no owls.
Right.
Either way, it's my turn for watch, it seems. Get some rest there, Barty. It seems you're a little sleep deprived.
Well, you might think.
I'll keep an extra eye out for any loud noises.
Well, maybe keep an eye out for any non-noises instead. I'm going to turn in, but if you need anything, I'll leave my axe with you as well.
No worries, I'm much better with the sling anyways.
Good. All right, Banjo, what do you do to set up for your watch here?
Right, so as always, I think I'm going to get my marble pouch out and kind of just sit crisscross and go through all the marbles I have and just go through polishing and grinding out each one to kill the time while I observe. I obviously would have my sling and stuff nearby and just facing the whatever entrance is in this hollow farm, if you will.
Okay. Did you say if you were inside or outside?
I'm gonna be inside.
Okay. So are you standing in front of an open door, a shut door?
No. Hopefully the door's shut, like how we
Yeah.
found it. I would keep it shut and then
Perfect.
just be facing it, waiting and listening.
So the first half of your watch proceeds without event. You can't hear much within this enclosed space. It does seem that there's not a ton of oxygen flowing through here, which is helpful for you to stay warm. But it just doesn't seem like there's a big draft or anything like that. You don't find it hard to breathe. It is sheltered. It's protected, much as in a hobbit hole back home. The second part of your shift, please go ahead and roll a perception check. And again, I'm going to have you roll a disadvantage here.
Nice.
Mine was a 10.
Okay, so a 10 on the first one. And you roll a second.
14.
Okay, 14. As you are somewhat lost in thought, perhaps you find a stone that reminds you of a particular animal that you killed with it. You tend to retrieve your favorite sling stones. Perhaps you find one that particularly stands out to you, and you kind of get lost in thought for just a moment. And you come to your senses recognizing a scratching sound. And this scratching sound seems to be coming from just beyond the door. And it takes place almost... You've heard a similar thing with perhaps a feral cat in town or something like that, where it starts scratching at the door. But these scratches are a little longer and a little deeper, and they echo throughout this enclosed chamber.
All right, that's disconcerting. I'm going to stay as quiet as possible. I'm going to kind of be a little more wary and quietly raise myself up on my feet, get my sling, and just kind of absentmindedly load that favorite and most true sling shot into the saddle. And I'm not going to start spinning it yet, but I'm just going to wait and see if this scratching stops and moves on. If so, I'm not going to do anything. If it shows any other aggression towards this door, I might have to make a different decision. But for now, I'm just going to wait and be ready.
Okay. The scratching soon dies down, and you hear almost like a snort. And following that, it seems like forever. But eventually, you feel the tension sort of leave your body as you begin to hear, just ever so faintly, the sounds of the forest resume once again. You hadn't realized, but you had also caught your breath and had stopped breathing for just a moment as well. And you begin to relax as you hear the sounds of those crickets and the birds chirping once again slowly resume.
I'm going to obviously collapse back into my spot and maybe shake off the adrenaline still pumping. Notice that it's kind of been that time, and I should probably relax my nerves. And I would probably at that time go up to Barry and wake him up and, Master Barry, it's your turn for the watch. I will say though, some creature, seemed like a big one, came up to the door and was scratching at it, but it did leave eventually. But just wanted to make sure there is something out there. So you are definitely right.
I had an idea. It would be better to sleep here in the shelter than sleep out under the stars with nothing between us and whatever horrors lurk out there in the shadows and dark. Alright, well, you have a good rest, Banjo. Thank you for taking the middle watch.
No worries. Keep a sharp eye and ear out.
I don't like waking up early. I'm not fully... So Barry will definitely be stretching out his limbs and kind of rubbing them to get the joints warmed up as he takes his position for watch.
Very good. So, do you do anything markedly different for your watch?
I would say probably that as he's maintaining watch, kind of examine the hollowed out tree and how the mushrooms are growing out of it, just out of curiosity, because he's, an herbalist and a gardener, and he's familiar with how plants grow, and he's curious to see, what kind of methods Gerda Boffin is using to grow these mushrooms. If it's anything that seems off of the usual methods that he's learned or knows of. So he's just kind of going to just check out the mushrooms and the planting process and how they seem to be doing, and idle things like that while he's watching and listening, and obviously keeping in mind what Banjo had said about the creatures, making sure that the door is left a specific amount, because it had to be propped open a little bit to allow for airflow and stuff, I'm guessing. So
Well, yeah, Barty left it open a crack. Banjo left it closed.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you didn't die in your sleep, so obviously there's enough, you get enough oxygen in the cracks, between the cracks of the door or whatever.
Yeah, leave it closed then, probably.
Okay.
You guys, did you the scary beast that I saw?
Oh, man, scary.
He was big and furry.
Even though I didn't see it at all.
He's just drawing in his sleep.
No, he's having nightmares that he'll draw later.
Oh my goodness, yeah, probably.
So, once again, I'll have you go ahead and make a perception check at disadvantage. Just keeping track, and obviously it's a little harder with the door shut, even to hear. To hear, to smell, to see. It's all quite difficult. But you...
That's what I'm
not for
talking
you.
about.
Apparently
you
it's
rolled
not
a
difficult
19
for
and an
Barry.
18 for
He
your...
lives with kids. He knows exactly what he hears 100% of the time.
Being perfectly tuned to the forest, all you can hear every whisper of blade of
absorbs
grass.
into the
He
tree.
hears the flowers blooming. What is that, a marigold? That's rosemary!
I am Groot.
Yeah.
Just turns into the tree.
Exactly. So you feel quite in tune with the situation that's going on. You can hear vaguely the movements outside of the hollow tree, and for the most part you can detect small animals. You hear some birds, and as the day begins to dawn, you can sense that this movement increases and then dies down once again as the sun comes up, and the creatures, the creatures of the night stop moving around. Those that are nocturnal begin going to bed, and the early risers wake up. And you're familiar with this, being an herbalist. You enjoy waking up early and going in these fields, and you track these animals, and you recognize, even though they barely make any noise, you can more or less sense that things are proceeding in more or less a normal sense. You do feel that they're largely avoiding this area in particular. They seem to be steering clear of you all, but you can hear bird songs beginning as the day dawns, and your watch goes largely unimpeded, and your day begins with a fairly well rested night. Now, I will say, we'll say that I was going to give you all a Constitution check. I think we should. So I'll have everybody roll as you wake up and get ready for the day. Just roll a Constitution check to see how well rested you are after the night.
14.
Okay.
13.
Good.
Daniel, you better roll a 12.
Nice. 11.
Close enough.
So you all, despite the fact that you've slept, on a dirt floor, and particularly Banjo, you had a bit of a disturbing watch. Nevertheless, you are all able to gain a full night's rest and not lose anything else.
It makes sense that I had the highest roll because I got the most sleep out of everybody.
Right. Blissfully unaware and
undisturbed sleep.
Yeah.
A wolf just walked in, grabbed one of us, walked out.
Where's Banjo? So, yes, you are able to, as the sun begins to come up, you are able to, there's not a fireplace here. There's no handy first breakfast. And
there's
the
mushrooms.
The air is definitely getting crisp. This morning you can feel is just a little bit colder than it dawned yesterday, particularly since there's no nice warm fire to warm your cold bones. But you wake up not really achy. You're either young enough or used to hard living enough to recover your strength after a short night's rest.
Great. That was a great sleep, boys.
Anything else interesting happen, or was it just the silence that kept you all awake?
Well, there's a little more than silence out there. I saw something
way.
crazy. Well, I didn't see it.
Was
But
it
I
an owl?
heard the thing. It was a big hulking beast, and it came up to the door. It came rapping, and it came tapping. And it dug its claws in the door,
and I said, "You get away from here." No, I didn't do that, but I did wait and
This
listen.
situation
Just like Master
does...
Barry said, and it went away. It just walked away.
Just walked away. This situation does remind me of a tale my ma used to tell me. 3 little piggies who built their houses differently. And then a big bad wolf came chasing them.
You should tell me the rest of that story while we walk back to Hobbiton.
I'll tell you, Banjo, I'll tell you.
To Hobbiton we go.
All right.
As we skip away after the forest.
We still need to figure out our way back out of the forest, though.
Well, it's easy enough. Your journey roll, essentially, you lost a day, which we played out here, basically by having instead of leaving early afternoon, you spent some extra time and had to spend the night. So,
aren't we on a bit of a time crunch? Like, don't we have a timetable?
We've got to get back.
Yes. So.
Right, off we go. Barry, you lead the way.
Technically, we gained a day the first day because when we were traveling from Michael Devlin to Hobbiton, we did gain a day, and we spent that day getting the mushrooms. So technically, we're a day ahead, you guys. Or we're right on track. Now. We're on track. So now we need to get time.
So, we're back on the road then, right? We're finding our way back out.
Easily enough, you're able to retrace your steps with the light to help you. Now that you can actually see something, you find it fairly easy to locate your tracks, especially Barty's, since he wears these boots. He's quite easy to follow.
Distinct footprints.
You also locate some strange footprints, and you have not seen these prints before. But it will be easy enough for you to remember them. They seem, as you look at them, to be rather large canine footprints in the soft earth around the tree itself. And so you imagine they belong to some sort of a large dog of some sort. Which is strange that it would be out in the woods. And of course, you hear echoing in your ears the tales you've heard previously of the possibility of wolves in the Bind Bowl.
Right. Master Orwin's nailed those stories right into our noggins. Question, just in comparison to my foot, if I were to say to step next to one of these paw prints, how bloody big are these things?
Roughly twice as big as your foot is.
That's massive! A hobbit's foot's huge already!
I put my entire face in the footprint. I'm like, look guys, it's bigger than my head.
Oh dear. I think whatever it was out here, we've done well to avoid that, that's for sure.
I sure am glad I didn't listen to Banjo.
Would you like to have tangled with that out here in the dark?
Too.
Not too grand of an idea, I'd say.
I'm glad I didn't listen to myself either.
Man, if that thing comes up to me, I'm going to hit it in the head with a little tiny rock.
Here's my favorite marble, Mr. Wolf, sir.
I will say, you talk about your sling stones as if they're tiny marbles, but historically, and I haven't done any research into how hobbits have done, but for context, in actual history, the nation of Israel had sling stone throwers, and they were about the size of your fist. That's about the size of a sling stone that an actual slinger would have slung. And of course they would vary, but
yeah, it'd be like a hobbit-sized
How big is your stone bag, Banjo?
And they could be bigger or smaller depending, but just for historical context, you're not talking about like this kind of slingshot. You're talking about an actual real weapon.
Because when you're using like a weapon, you don't use the same bullet for a bird that you do with like a big. So I do have varying sizes because I mainly do like squirrels and rats. So I'm not gonna pelt them with a boulder.
He's carrying around a bag of billiard balls.
I would like to make a point of order. He did say that the stones he uses are big enough to obliterate whatever he hits, because that's what happened at Mrs. Daisy's garden. He said, whatever it was I hit, I didn't recognize it after I obliterated it, or whatever he said.
But yeah, it does make sense, so to be more like a palm, something that's more like palm-sized, I'd say.
Yeah. I just ate another mushroom, just so you guys know.
Dude, stop eating those. We need those for the soup.
So we find our way back out, we hit the road, and we're back on our way to the Green Dragon.
So your plan, if I recall correctly, you were to proceed, basically follow your tracks back from the Bin Bowl to Overhill down to Hobbiton.
Right, and I was going to suggest, first, try Master Bilbo's door one more time, see if we can squeeze a dwarf tail out of him, and if he's not there, leave me at the apartment. I'll watch the mushrooms, because we don't want anyone recognizing what they are. Well, we don't want anybody seeing, anyways. Certainly not Miss Gerda Boffin's crock. So I'll guard them, I'll stay at the apartment, and y'all gents go try the soup. I won't be any good there anyways, I'll just... soup. You guys go enjoy, and I'll protect the mushrooms.
Well, also, I think we only bought like one night, so we might have to go buy another night first. Because do we still have...
I still got the key.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but... I just was wondering, outside of my character, if we even had access to that house again.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can just squat by the bushes and hide out.
We didn't necessarily check out or anything. We kind of just paid for the night.
Stayed the night and left. Well, I mean, our stuff is still there. We've got several items of our belongings, so...
If I recall, you did say you packed up and left.
I did say we packed up and left.
Right, so I'll just squat...
Then, yeah, you can go over to the spot, and then we can go get the key and go there and meet there. Either way, we can meet you there with the key.
Should I stay, like, hidden? Should I wait? Like, on the side of the road behind a tree, just be like, peekaboo, people, I'm here, but you can't see me, whoa.
Put it in Post Office Box 5, and we'll pick it up.
Right. And just hope whoever owns Post Box 5 Office Box...
Wait, no, that's not good. The Bounders are the mailmen. I forgot. No, this isn't a good idea.
Right. Okay.
Don't involve the mailmen.
Here's
the
the
less
plan.
government, the better.
Before we get to Hobbiton proper, oil, just split, and I'll just hang out like in a ditch, and I'll cover myself with leaves, and I'll be all hidden. It'll be really cool. And you two go try some soup. And come back with your reports. And we'll head back happy as larks. Happy as larks.
I like that plan.
Very grand. And you guys just don't tell me about it. You guys just discuss it in between yourselves, and I'll enjoy another mushroom.
Okay. I like that plan. Except for the mushroom.
So we're
don't eat all the
leaving
mushroom.
all the mushrooms with a hungry hobbit.
No, I've had enough. I'm not hungry anymore.
Eats another one.
I'm not hungry anymore. I've eaten plenty
I'm
already.
stuffed, boys.
You're able to easily enough find the path back down from the Bin Bowl to Overhill without any sort of note. Even within the Bin Bowl, the birds are chirping, the animals seem to be moving quite normally, and as hobbits, you're accustomed to passing quite silently through such places, and so it seems you're not disturbing the wildlife nearly as much as, say, a human would, although, of course, you've probably not interacted with any humans.
What's our human?
But just for reference, for our sakes, as players and audience. Proceeding down from Overhill, you do notice as you begin to cross down, you notice some movement over towards Bag End, the hill. And you notice that in the garden, there is a rather elderly-looking gardener with a rake who seems to be cleaning up some brush or deadfall from the plants, and there's a much younger hobbit on his hands and knees doing some more physical cleaning and trimming of some of the bushes, the flowers, and the garden there at Bag End.
Ooh.
Oh, are you a monkey, lad?
First of all, what's a monkey? Second of all, there's people there. There's some hobbits out. I wonder if they know Master Bilbo.
I'd imagine they probably do.
Let's go talk to him.
Why?
Because they know Master Bilbo, and Master Bilbo meant dwarves.
Barty, get a hold of yourself, man. We've got a quest. We've got a quest that we're working on.
Somebody's a little starstruck here.
I'm not starstruck. No starstruck me. I want to talk to Master Bilbo.
Barty, you've lived all these years this close to Hobbiton, and you haven't once visited.
No, of course not. His treasure's cursed.
You have to wait until we're on a time-consuming mission.
It's not a time-consuming... Listen, nothing is more important than getting this man's stories out of him.
I'm telling you, Barty. I'm telling you, Barty, don't go. You'll be turned into a frog.
Your mouth's a frog. We're going.
Whoa.
Barty, as you approach closer and perhaps your friends follow you, maybe they don't.
Not the time for mushrooms right now.
But as you kind of tromp away from them and towards Bag End, you hear the older hobbit you see him motioning towards the younger hobbit. Yes, right over there. If you see there's some brush underneath the petunias, you need to make sure you pull that out and take good care of those. That's the section where Master Baggins likes his potatoes. Make sure that area's well kept. Oh yes, of course there, sir. Thank you, Master Hoppmann. And the younger hobbit begins to pull that brush out as you approach. Oh well, hello there. What business you have here at Bag End?
I'm just passing through, and I couldn't help but notice you're here. You're right there in Bag End. You're right there, and I'm over here, and I imagine that someone else of great importance lives over here. You wouldn't happen to know you wouldn't happen to know the master of the house?
Oh, well, of course.
I'm Barty, by the way. My name is Barty. Listen.
Barty.
I hear... Pleasure to meet you. Hello. Listen, I hear that the master of the house, Bilbo, right? Bilbo, I heard he got to travel with dwarves. Do you know about that?
Well, it's not in my character to be.
Because listen, I got to talk to him. If you know where he is, if he's in there, I got to talk to him. And I step up and grab the fence aggressively.
Well, now, Master Barty, I'm sure I'd be happy to pass a message along for you to...
Don't pass a message. Go grab him right now.
Well, unfortunately, Master Baggins is away today.
Where'd he go?
Unfortunately, I feel that's none of my business nor of yours, Master Barty. But as I mentioned, I'm happy to pass along a message to him for you regarding your visit.
And then send a raven for me once he gets back to you.
A raven?
Yes. Barry says they're the smartest birds. and they can talk.
He looks down at the young hobbit who has stopped and is looking up and shrugs as he looks back at you as well. I'm afraid I have no raven at my disposal to say to come hither or go yon, but my name's Hoppmann Greenhand. I'm the chief gardener here at Bag End.
Chief gardener?
You've got my word that Hamfast and I will pass along your message to Master Baggins.
Hamfast and Greenhand. Question for you. Were you the gardener when the dwarves tramped all over his bloody house?
He looks again at Hamfast, who looks up at him and shrugs again.
Do you know anything, sir?
Well, as I mentioned before, Master, Barty, was it?
Right, Barty of the Tooks.
Barty of the Tooks.
Barty Took. At your disposal. Barty, at your service.
As I mentioned, I'm not one to spread rumours and idle gossip, but I indeed have been tending the Master's gardens for well before he left and went off on his adventures, and I must say I was very grateful that he did come back, and he is now again the Master of Bag End. There was a time when it wasn't so sure that he would be back, but he did come, and he comes and goes now as he pleases.
Great. When's he coming back?
As I mentioned, as he pleases.
I see you, Barry, shaking your bleeding head. Get over here.
Barty, we gotta go.
We're wasting daylight.
Yeah, Barry's standing kind of at the edge, probably where the road, there's probably like a border, and he's kind of just like standing at the edge of the road, just kind of listening as Barty divulges his name and all of these things that we're supposed to keep secret.
It's not a secret. I just need to talk to Master Bilbo. I must talk to Master Bilbo.
Can I inquire as to what you're wishing to speak with Master Bilbo about, Master Baggins?
Dwarves.
The dwarves.
Dwarves, yes.
Oh, all right.
If you can't tell, I'm like one myself. Minus the beard, of course.
He looks you up and down. I can clearly see quite a resemblance to the dwarves that I have seen before, and he looks down at Hamfast, who once again nods. And
you stop nodding there, lad. You don't know what he's talking about.
I'm sorry. What?
No, I'm sorry.
I know a wee bit what he's talking about.
I'm sorry. You're a great chap. I'm sorry.
He stands up and he moves to a different part of the garden.
I'm sorry. He's a great chap, mister.
That's my apprentice there, Hamfast Gamgee. He's a promising greenhand, he is too. I'm very grateful for him to be taken. As you can see, I'm up in my years, and I should.
You don't look a day over 65.
Well, I'm way over 65, but thank you very much. I've been tending these gardens for over 65 years, and so it's been quite a time here at Bag End, and I've seen more than my fair share of strange goings on. But I'm happy enough to retire, and Hamfast here, he's quite busy.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I'm busy too. Let me know when Master Bilbo's back. You can reach me at the Tooklands or somewhere around. You'll hear me before you hear me.
Barty! Let's go! We're waiting!
All right. Well, thanks for visiting, I suppose.
Pleasure meeting you, Mr. Greedhand, Mr. You and Mr. Slamfast. Pleasure meeting you as well.
Would you like me to tell him about your friends as well, or are they not party to your request to speak with Master?
They don't know about dwarves. I do. Just let him know Barty's interested, and I'd love to speak with him at his earliest inconvenience.
And inconvenience it shall be. I will let him know.
Right.
I wish you a good day.
Barty Took.
Barty Took.
Right, off we go, lads. I was so bleeding close to talking to Master Bilbo, gents.
And as the sun sets, we'd spend a whole day talking to the gardener. No,
it was a brief conversation. You're all right.
Listen, you have no idea how important this is to me, boys. Right? Barry, it'd be like you meeting a green tree person, if they exist. Banjo, it'd be like meeting Mr. Slingstone himself. All right? I have to meet Master Bilbo.
Hey, I am Mr. Slingstone.
Imagine meeting yourself then, Banjo. How grand would that be? You haven't the slightest how important this is for me, boys. Shame on you for rushing me. Shame.
I don't think the like what you're trying to do is bad. I think it's the way you're trying to do it. It's just like I don't know. It was very funny and entertaining to watch, though. I liked it. But yeah, let's get going.
I could just see Banjo saying this as they're walking. I'm just like, rude.
I don't understand, you guys.
I don't get that obsession with dwarves. It's a little weird, but yeah, let's go.
So you're able to proceed into Hobbiton proper. You cross over the water and you get to kind of the centrish of town. What was your plan here? You were all heading to the Green Dragon, is that correct?
Barty and Ditch, we soup.
Barty, Ditch Barty. Y'all could have just left me there talking to Greenhanded. You could have gotten the keys.
That's valid.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, so you're able to. There's not so much a ditch. You can in such a manner as a troll might. You could hide under the bridge. You could kind of lurk under there. You could kind of find the base of a tree or something.
This is, what, around tea time? 11sies?
Yeah, it took you probably a couple hours to come out of the forest once you got there. So
mushroom time.
Yeah, close to 11sies. So go ahead and make a stealth roll, Jerry, just to see how well hidden you are from prying eyes wherever you so decide to locate yourself.
Do I get advantage because I'm a hobbit? Oh no,
because
everyone
you're
else is a
a
hobbit.
loud,
Never mind.
loud
Never
dwarf
mind.
impersonating hobbit. Yeah. Disadvantage, of
9.
course. No, I think that's an appropriate roll.
Yep, makes sense.
Jerry spends the entire time trying to get a rock out of his shoe by banging it against the door, against the bridge. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So perhaps you're not flying as low under the radar as you'd like. Obviously, in Hobbiton, there's few things that people are on the lookout for. The Bounders obviously keep track, and you're pretty certain that you would not be hidden to anybody who is looking for you, but you don't stand out in so much a way as those who are not
As
looking
much as I normally do.
for you would. Yeah, you're pretty much on par with how you are. You stand
Makes
out.
sense.
Banjo and Barry, you approach the Green Dragon, and they are once again bustling with 11s. Yes.
Did I take? This is for the party. Did I take all of the bags of mushrooms?
Hopefully, because
Or just
the
mine.
thing we wanted to avoid is bringing him around the Green Dragon. But yeah, so I say we go in and inquire about a room and say we're on our return journey back, and if while we wait, if it's no trouble to get some soup, if they have that available, I think that's a good goal for us right now, heading into the tavern.
Certainly. Let's make our way back to the Green Dragon and be mindful. I don't recall if we had a key to that room that we were renting out from the gate key. You mean this gate key?
Oh, it's a raven.
I don't
from
think
Barty.
they gave you. I don't think they gave you a key.
they just unlocked it.
As
No,
so much
they
as
ran
he
us
just
down.
opened the door for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fred opened the door for you. It's kind of a one-way lock system, and so basically it's locked, and once you leave, it's locked again.
I see.
Again, that's what I figured, so that coming back right to the house probably wouldn't work. So yeah.
Okay. So we're going straight to the inn.
Okay, so you make your way back to the Green Dragon, and like I said, they're again bustling. There's the sound of busy wait staff as well as the customers. Many of them huddled around the fire once more, enjoying the heat of the fire as it roars, and the wonderful smell of Boffin's crock is again assaulting your nostrils. That
Delicious.
heavenly smell, and now you can definitely associate it closely with the particular mushrooms that you located within that hollow tree. And so you are able to make your way in, and you see those that are serving, once again hustling around. You notice Dahlia. You're not sure if she's ignoring you or if she just hasn't seen you yet, but she doesn't seem to be greeting you as you walk in the door.
Okay. I will enter and kind of scan the room to see how crowded it is, where there might be an empty table or a spot at the bar to seat ourselves if we're not being greeted, or if there's a young Fred around who might be working or anything like that, so we could, without being obtuse, try to flag someone down.
Sure. Yeah, so you don't wait super long. There's probably 2 or 3 empty tables out of the 5 or 6 that you see easily, and a little bit of room at the bar. As I mentioned, most are gathered in the common area, just kind of enjoying the company of one another. So yeah, you're able to find a table and grab a seat, and eventually Dahlia does end up coming over towards you. You notice that the other servers mentioned young Fred and another young female hobbit. As they walk past you, they're markedly looking away from your table. And Dahlia comes up and she says, hello. What can I help you with? She kind of speaks in a sort of disjointed sentence.
I feel like we must apologize for our behavior in the past day. We had a bit of an adventure that we weren't expecting to encounter, and we were not able to return to the lovely accommodations that we secured the other night. And
well, you purchased a night, and you were there for a night, and there's nothing wrong with that. But were you here for Eleventies? Is there something you'd like to eat? I can serve you. What? Yes.
Well, we would like, of course, a bowl of that delicious Boffin's crock.
Oh,
Or
yes.
two.
You seem quite interested in Boffin's crock. She kind of looks up at you as she, writes on her notepad. Quite interested, according to Gerda. We'll be back. Two bowls. I'll be back.
I hope she wasn't too bothered by our little meeting out in the woods. We were merely curious about. Personally, as an herbalist myself, I'm quite interested in the nature of the herbs and the mushrooms that grow around, and I hope she wasn't too rattled with our little bump in the woods out there.
You can go ahead and make a persuasion or deception check, whatever you feel is more appropriate. You don't have to tell me, which one is which.
Are you lying or
All right.
convincing?
Oof. That's a 3.
As you say that, she says, yes, of course. Well, I'll go get those soups. And she kind of brusquely leaves without really acknowledging demarking your acknowledgement of the situation, if not apology. And she goes and heads back to the kitchen. You hear some things moving around, and you before long, the soup comes out, and it is piping hot, steaming, and lands right in front of you. She says, enjoy your crock. And she sets it down in front of you, along with a small plate of some bread to enjoy with your soup. And as the soup lands at your table, it is well worth the wait, worth everything that you've been through to get to it. It is a thick and creamy broth. It's almost as if the mushrooms have been ground into the broth itself. The aroma is so fragrant. The thyme you can smell coming from it. You detect these very aromatic herbs that have been pressed together and cooked for a long time over the fire. And on top there are some what appear to be freshly seared mushroom slices that are quite large. You can tell these clearly came from the same mushrooms that you have located and indeed have in your possession even now. Not here at the inn, but of course via Barty. You are welcome to take a taste and to enjoy your mushroom soup. I'll say go ahead and both of you make a perception roll just to see how much you can glean from your time here. And I'll say since you have the mushrooms themselves, this will be at advantage for both of you.
All right.
I rolled a 12.
Go ahead and roll again. Take the higher of the two. So we
A
have
12 and a 17. So
Okay.
17 for me.
17 is the higher for you, and 14 for Barry. Okay. So you are able to indeed glean that it's definitely like a cream base. There's definitely onions, garlic. You've got thyme, and you feel pretty
Delicious.
confident that you could at least get all the ingredients down. Now, how they're prepared, you know that they're cooked for a long time. And you can tell just by how the mushrooms that are floating on top are, that those are definitely added afterwards, these seared mushrooms, after it's been cooking for a while. But more than that, you'd probably have to know intimately more about cooking itself. But you feel pretty confident that you could give this list to a decent cook, somebody who's familiar with soups and mushrooms, and they'd be able to create something quite similar to this.
Oh, that was so good.
Oh, well worth the wait. It's a shame that Barty had to miss out on this.
Well, I'm sure he'll get a chance if we can find out a way to replicate the recipe. I'm wondering if we could head back to the Bird and Babe and see if our friend might be able to help us out there.
You know,
If we give him a list of
Why do we
ingredients and the supplies.
why would we need to stay the night here? Could we head back now?
You could definitely start. It's about a 2-day journey back to Mickle Delving. So yeah, you could definitely start out. It's already midday, so you wouldn't even get to. I think Waymeet is in between Hobbiton and Mickle Delving. you wouldn't quite make it there before nightfall, but you could push through or try to camp. You could definitely make an attempt. It's up to you.
I do like that. What if we pick up just some of these commonplace ingredients the closer we get to, Michael Delving itself, and then that way we don't have to carry or lug or conceal any sort of recipes or intent to make soup. Because we'll be arrested with intent to make soup if we do.
Possession and attempted.
What's this, huh? It's a ladle. Oh, you're trying to make a soup, are you? Huh? You're trying to make a soup with this ladle? That's not mine. Oh, yeah.
That was my friend's. He left it in my cart.
Tell it to Sheriff Bolger.
I feel like they would just do like timeouts or something in the show. I don't know why.
Timeouts.
It's like,
you're in a timeout.
you're going to get the silent treatment now.
Put your nose in the corner.
No! But yeah, I think we don't need to stay here. So I say we get up with Barty and whatever bridge he's underneath and just hit the road. Now that we have an idea of what's what, we can kick this town to the dirt.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah, so Dahlia does come back by your table. Oh, I see you've enjoyed your soup. I hope it lived up to your expectations. I know you came and you waited quite a long time for it, and it's 5 silver pennies for the meal. I hope you enjoyed it, and then hopefully you'll come back to the Green Dragon again.
That was more than we paid for our house. There you go.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that was more. But that is the hate. That's what we came for. The famous.
It is the rate.
That
yes.
famous Boffin's Crock. Hey, it was delicious, and I'd pay it again.
And
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry. We're all out of rooms for this evening. We couldn't put you up. We couldn't possibly.
Don't trouble
today.
yourself. Thank you so much, Dahlia, for everything you've done. The room was incredible, and we really do thank you for your hospitality. And again, I know Rumble didn't like us at first, but if there's any way you can give him our compliments for this delicious soup that no other cook could make what he makes.
Well, no, particularly after the words you've said to his wife, I doubt that Rumbold would be very receptive to your friendship, but I would steer clear of Gerda and Rumbold in the future.
Rumbold Boffin. Yeah, that's
yes.
Rumbold Boffin.
That tracks.
I'm smiling and looking at Dahlia, and I slowly turn my head to Barry, and I just go,
Okay.
We really screwed up.
We need to go.
We need to go. Thank you. We need to go.
So, I'm wondering what sort of currency I might be carrying, because right now, Barry is feeling very, I don't know if guilty is the word, but he's recalling the events that have transpired and is not really sure how he feels about this entire quest. Because essentially it's boiling down to Sheriff Bolger wanting to undercut the Green Dragon and basically poach their recipe.
You're just figuring that out, huh?
But no. Hold on. The Bird and the Babe is our favorite tavern. Why wouldn't they get access to the best soup in the land?
Well,
it's like holding off exclusive rights to a seatbelt in Hobbit terms.
Not exactly.
Yeah, soup is.
Which, by the way, Volvo invented.
I think soup is as safe as a seatbelt. I think that
in Hobbiton it is. Soup is their seatbelt.
With that revelation, as we've ended many of our sessions on some revelations, and perhaps fearing for your lives in more ways than one, you are. We will resume our session next time.
Great.
Here at the Green Dragon with your plans on how to get where you're going and what exactly is the point of all of this.
It's a good thing Barty stayed under the bridge.
Yeah. All right, and so we will resume this next time at the Green Dragon with these questions floating in your mind. Blunders and Flagons is a creation of David Lennox in partnership with Daniel and Drew Lennox and Jerry Hoppmann. Content for this adventure is compiled from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings universe. The system and certain names and details of this adventure were adapted from the Free League's work, the Lord of the Rings Roleplaying and Shire Adventures starter set for 5e. Sounds in this episode were sourced in part from freesound.org under the Creative Commons and Attribution license. Atmosphere and other sounds were derived from Monument Studios, Fantasy Music, and Cinematic Atmosphere collections under the Creative Commons license. Other music was created using Suno Premium. Detailed attribution found in the description. Thank you for listening to this episode.